All right, so I am here with Illinois State University's own Nausicaa after a huge victory in the Upsurge Premium League Finals, 3-1 against Revival. Let me get your thoughts on that.
We're pretty happy with the victory overall. We weren't really expecting to win it as well because we only really started playing together as a team back in like early January because I'm from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So I flew out. I had like a wedding on the 10th of January, and then on that day, like on that same day, I took a flight all the way to America, and then started playing. And yeah, like around like the 11th or 12th of January was when we first started like actually playing together. So we've had like a lot of like, you know, with most teams where you start off, it's always like pretty rough, like trying to get the synergy, figuring out who calls what, et cetera, et cetera. So we've had struggles as a team for like the past month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really sad because I wasn't able to get here anytime sooner to practice for proving grounds. So we weren't really able to participate in proving grounds. So being able to improve after being knocked out of proving grounds and like get this UPL victory is pretty big for us because it's a sign that not only can we compete in like these amateur leagues, like what can we do in the eventual like statewide CLOL league where we first Winthrop and Maryville again, and what we can do in the next set of proving grounds in the summer.
Okay. So you said you didn't really have much time to actually play with each other prior to like proving grounds and stuff. And you didn't really expect to win this series. So what exactly was your strategy going into the series in terms of like just general game plan?
Um, I think we just wanted to play what has been really working for us. We didn't really come in with like a specific strategy, or we knew like, I mean, the coach would mention like, oh, some X player sometimes does this, so we could do Y to punish it. There was like a bit of that, but overall, we were more focused on our play style and how we play as a team, and most importantly is like we're just trying to win.
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Comfort. You can always default to comfort if nothing else works. I know from just watching the finals that the hyped matchup, they talked a lot about one, Revival's top side of the map, but two, that the matchup that would kind of determine the series would be the bot lane with you and Disconnector versus Revival's bot lane. So what did you think of that matchup? Like, was it really did you guys have that sort of same feeling going into the actual series?
I think when it comes to Will and I bot lane, I feel like we can beat pretty much any bot lane in amateur, like pretty convincingly. And maybe like the top amateur bot lanes will become a lot harder. I remember the Mirage bot lane. We weren't really like, even when we had a good matchup, we weren't able to get like a good enough lead. But I feel like it's a bit uneven when I'm matched with like an NA amateur support, just because I've been playing pro League of Legends in OCE for a long time,
Mm.
and for a lot of them, this is usually like their first or second teams. Like I reckon, like in a year's or two time, like I think Azov, he was like I've seen him just like randomly pop off. Like he's a really good, like he's able to get himself leads. The later the game goes on, even if laning phase doesn't go that well for him. I think we saw it in the games as well, like the Kaiser game.
Yeah.
Like he could actually really play the game at all bot lane because we played really well around bot lane, but he was still able to find opportunities to get back into the game and still have an impact, which is like a really important skill set to have if you want to look towards academy and pro level. And I think Chuki is like he is challenger, so I reckon he's good, but like from the games I versed him in, that was like when they were constantly picking like Karma and that, and
Mhm.
like it didn't look like he really had like any impact on the game. Like I don't really want to flame him because it is like amateur in the end, so no, I think you should be like in the amateur level, accepting of people's mistakes and want to improve on them. But from my point of view, when I was versing him, I didn't really feel like I was being like tested or anything. Like I could pretty much do what I wanted to do, play my match up and get a lead. So yeah.
What did you think about the way that like Revival's top side of the map played? Because I noticed in a lot of games that you guys as jungler Hyper would actually pop off a lot, but I did notice that the top side of the map for Revival gave you guys a lot of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. I think I didn't like I'm still trying to remember all the names of the different
Mm,
players. I think
okay.
it was Concept of C or Concept of X. Like
Mm,
I've heard
that's-
people talk like quite highly of him, and
mhm,
like he definitely had like um really important like pop off moments that like actually gave them chances in the game. But it felt like game two, that was like trying to remember the series as well. Game two was when we came back, and then after that, um, both like I think game two, his Wukong was like it was good until we realized all he's ever going to do is flank, and then we ended up just being able to engage on the floor. I remember and just being able to catch out the Wukong. Or like just, I remember one team fight specifically. My four teammates were attacking their four, and I saw Wukong from the flank, and he was like, without Wukong, they're gonna really struggle in the team fight. So I just literally spent like 15 to 20 seconds of just like auto spacing between him, using abilities to zone him, and then eventually my teammates peeled back off, and then we just killed the Wukong there. So there are a lot of times where if he was in a different spot or if he was with his team and looking instead of not flanking, the
mhm.
team fights could have gone differently. So like I think he's a good player, but like there's still like it feels like versing him, it was very like one dimensional. Like you kind of knew after playing like two games against him what he was going to try and do. And I mean, after like that series, it definitely felt like game three and four, like they had kind of just like checked out because like it was a lot less competitive than the games before. So I mean, I don't know what was happening between them, but that's kind of how it felt from my end.
When in your heads did it occur to you guys that like, wait, we can actually like do this? Like we can straight up take the series.
I think it was literally just that. I think it was like, I mean, I was kind of like I didn't really like come in with like expectations of like, oh, we're going to lose or we're going to win.
Mm,
Again,
mm,
I'm not really confident in knowing all the different players and how they work because I've only
mm,
been in America for such a short time. Um, but it definitely, the one moment I did feel like when we could like 100% just win the series, or when it really felt like one, was honestly like when we just had that one team fight where we just came back and we're just like, wait a second, these guys are actually like making like a lot of mistakes, like macro wise, and we're just not punishing them. So then we just, once we came to that realization and we're just like, we should just like, try it instead of like playing like ultra slow, which I felt like we were. I mean, in that game too specifically, I think it was good that we played to minimize deficits in other lanes because we didn't want to blow out the entire game, especially when we had such good scaling. Like we had Graves, Corky, and I forget our AD, but it was like another hyper scaling AD, like Jinx or something. So like we were always going to win the late game. So I wanted to make sure like, we don't de-esser, like no matter how far behind in gold, like even if we can just wait for one mistake and still win a team fight. And then once we found that, we were able to snowball. And I felt like it was that point when I was just like, you know what, this series is kind of like, especially like after like game three, like midway through game three, like it was just like we just flowing through the motions at that point.
What's next for Illinois State?
Well, UPL is starting up again pretty quickly.
Mm,
I saw that. I was really surprised. I thought that'd be like a 2 week or a month break, but we're just right back into it. So I mean, it would be really good to be like the two-time
back
winners,
to back.
like the back-to-back. That would be pretty high. I mean, I would love to do that. And I think our team, we're in a really good mental state, which I mean, like the biggest definer of whether your team will succeed or not is like where everyone is mentally with each other, like how relationships are between players, the general mood and practice and stage games. And it's really positive at the moment. It's in a really good trajectory. I think our practice is being somewhat productive. I think it could be a bit more productive, but there's a lot like we kind of have to go through. But I'm really happy comparing from where we were when I got here to where we are now. We've made a lot of improvements that, I'm genuinely surprised that, we've got into this kind of point where, we can just easily win the UPL. Like it feels like where, we were really struggling in the regular split. Like we were losing to teams that if you looked player by player, you'd be like, well, how is this team, losing? You have like a rank 7 jungler, Oceanic Pro from, Oceanic Pro imported all the way over here. There's no point that this team should be losing to like a D3, D2 team, but like we were. And we took that to heart and we improved on it. And, I'm really happy with how we are. That being said, we really want to be able to win UPL again. We really want to win the whole statewide CLOL. I specifically really want to meet Maryville in the semifinals and 3-0 them, so they can't even brag that they made the finals.
Whoa, okay.
And yeah, and then hopefully you see what happens with Proving Grounds.
All right, sight set on Maryville. Okay, I get it. All right, I like it. I like it. All right, well, thank you for taking the time to talk with me about your finals win. And regardless of how things end up for you next time in the UPL, just know that I will be there watching, and you have lots of other fans that I'm sure will be watching after you guys' spectacular performance in the finals. So I wish you the best of luck, and I thank you for taking the time to talk with me about this. And I look forward to seeing you again on the Rift.
Thank you very much for the interview.
No problem. No problem.